Good morning. How'd you like that countdown? Something a little different I learned on my software here. So, anyway, kind of fun. Let you know that I am here getting ready for you and we're kind of ready to go. So, please say good morning. I hope you're having a great morning so far. For those of you on the East Coast, I know it's 10 o'clock a.m. Those west, I know it's earlier, so I appreciate you getting up a little bit early to come see us and join us today. Um, and we have Susan from Florida. Hello, Susan. Hi, Shirley. Nice to see you back again. All right, so we'll wait for a few people to join on. Have your morning beverage. Let me know if you're crafting along today. I put some materials up on the website. Well, not the website, on Facebook. And also, if you're on my mailing list, I sent those out to you as well. And whenever I do type up a PDF on a project for my for this coffee and a card, I am going to send that off to people on my mailing list. So make sure you are on there. That's a special perk for joining my list. So I appreciate that. I don't do them for everyone, but when I do them, I will share them with you. So if you're not on my mailing list, head on over to my blog, stampwithlorraine.com. There it is. And in the sidebar or a pop-up window, it will say that you will get a free tutorial when you sign up for my mailing list. So don't forget to go and do that. It's a fun fold card that you might enjoy doing if you sign up. So I will keep you posted of special Stampin' Up! Pads, and I send you some tutorials or some little helpful hints every now and then. I try to do it once a week on Tuesdays, sometimes Wednesdays. Sometimes I might miss a week, but I do like to keep you posted on things like that. I have my coffee with me today, and I still have my Mickey Fantasia, my Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey mugs out. I take them out for Halloween, just kind of a fun thing to do in October. And we're just branching over a little bit into November here. So I don't think I used this one on the coffee and a card yet. So I thought I'd show you that. And so I'm just finishing up the last of them. I hope you are having a good morning as well. So let's see who else might be on right now. Oh, wow, look at that. We have a lot of people on today. Nice to see you all. Hi, Debbie. Nice to see you from Vermont. Okay, we have somebody from British Columbia. Nice. Thanks for joining on. All right. Yeah, I see some people don't have their name up there, but that's okay. That's okay. Oh, Grace, good to see you, Ontario. And Brenda, nice. Wow. Okay, I see some new names. I love that. I love sharing with a lot of new people and regular people as well. All right, so are you interested in what we're doing today? I said just bring scraps. Very little cutting or measuring needed for this card. We're just going to use up a lot of scraps. You might have seen some cards that use strips. I'm going to show you how to do that. I was inspired by a swap card that I got when I went to a demonstrator event, and I am going to use that as my case. Copy and share everything. You might see those letters up there, or doesn't necessarily mean you have to copy it exactly, but you see different words to make up that acronym. It basically means using a card that you like as your inspiration to either copy it or change it up slightly to make it your own. So that's what happens with a lot of us. I mean, that's what we do in life, right? When we see fashion, when we want to decorate our house, when you want to redo your kitchen, you don't just start from scratch out of everything imaginative out of your head. You look around, you see what somebody has, you see what your neighbor has, you see what your family people have, you look online, you look in magazines, you look at different places, you go to stores, you shop around to see what it is that you like, and then you copy what you see, and you kind of put it all together. So we do the same thing with our cards, right? Okay, so we're going to get right to it. I'm going to take another sip of coffee first and welcome a few more people. Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are happy to catch me live. All right. So now remember, the whole idea of live is to have some interaction. So have some conversation, talk, answer each other's questions if you can. Talk to me, ask me questions, give me a comment, give me some feedback, because otherwise, it's not, the live experience wouldn't mean anything. So I know that's what a lot of you like to do. So that's why we're here. Right. Otherwise, I could just record a quick video and be done with it. And sometimes I do that. But nice to have this interaction. So please take advantage of that. All righty. So we have Arkansas. Nancy's in Arkansas. Wow. A lot of people from all over. Montana. Hi, Carol. All righty. Let's get started with our card. I'll show you my inspiration card first. I'm going to switch my camera here. And this was the card I got from a demonstrator, Linda Hitzelberger, and she's in the Maryland area. And I just absolutely love this card for many reasons. For one thing, I love blues. Secondly, I love the Mediterranean Blooms Designer Series paper. And I just think paired with the yellows, this is actually peach pie, one of the new in colors. I just thought that was gorgeous. And of course, I love the Spotlight on Nature dies for the sentiments. And I thought that little eyelet cut around the circle there really kind of picked up on the little petals of the flower there. So that was a nice coordination. So notice how these strips are all different sizes. Okay, this biggest one in the middle here is cardstock and it's embossed. This next one is a little thinner and it's not embossed. And the others are DSP. This little piece over here is the same one here embossed. So you can use anything. You could just kind of mix and match it and just kind of have fun with that. I suppose you could even make a bigger sheet of this if you wanted to, but your strips might not be long enough. Well, maybe do a long strip and then just cut it to the size that you want for your focal point on your card. So this widest one is 3/4 inches wide. And then from there, you don't have to even measure the 3/4, but I'm just giving you perspective. All right. So I just love that. Is that pretty? Everything just kind of calls to me on that one. Yeah, Shirley loves that paper too. All right. So, and then on the inside, she brought a little piece of that strip in there. So isn't that clever? Not even a whole all the way across, just a little hint of what was on the outside. And so what Linda did here was she actually embossed the card front, okay, which is kind of a neat idea. I decided in my instructions to you to make a separate layer that's embossed. 2 reasons. One thing, it's a little easier, I think, running it through the embossing machine. And secondly, I wanted my card to be just a little bit more sturdy. When you emboss something, it breaks down the fibers a little bit and it makes it a little softer. So I just thought maybe if I just add an extra layer, which will make the card heavier, but I still think it's fine for mailing. All right, so let's get started. We have a card base and we have a contrasting color in cardstock. And we're going to have a white piece underneath that we're going to glue all our strips to. And then we have our strips. So who's crafting along? Just give me a little message in there telling if you're crafting along with me at the same time. If you're watching the replay, I appreciate that as well. And you can certainly craft along. Also, the beauty of the replay is you can stop, pause, and do what you need to do, and then continue. So either way, I hope you enjoy this card. So I chose I'm going to do 2 different looks for you here. I have a Christmas one and I have a masculine one with wood grain. Which one should I do first? What do you think? Christmas or the wood grain? I'll take whatever comes up first. Whoever decides first, whoever votes first, I'll do that one. I'm going to end up doing them both anyway, but just need to kind of know which one I should do. Masculine. Okay, you got it. You got it. Facebook user. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I can't see your name. If you'd like us to know your name, you can type it in. Otherwise, just enjoy the show. All right. All right. So we're going to do the masculine one, then we'll go on to Christmas. All right. I chose the designer paper Country Woods. Right, that's all these beautiful wood grains. Some look like chipped paint. Who would have thought we'd want that, right? But it kind of looks kind of cool, really adds some texture to your card. And these are actually photographed and made into the DSP. I mean, this one here, in person even, it looks like I could just peel that paint off. It's just gorgeous. And some are just like a whitewash look, all different styles of the wood grain. So I thought that would look nice with some strips and making into masculine, because we sometimes struggle with the masculine cards, right? So I have a cello bag that I always keep my small strips in, and I keep that right in the pouch with the 12 by 12s. I chose Misty Moonlight for my card base. And, oh, I'm sorry, people who voted Christmas, yours will come second, okay? All right, so I have Misty Moonlight for my card base and for my layer. Now, my layer I already embossed, like I suggested to you, and I embossed that with the exposed brick embossing folder. All right, so again, so I thought the brick and the wood grain was kind of a nice masculine look, or natural look, you might say. All right, so that's going to go right on there. I'm going to glue that down right away. With something embossed, make sure you have plenty of adhesive on there, because most of the adhesive is going to sit on the higher points of what was embossed. And especially if you're using a tape runner of some kind. And so you have less surface area that actually is tacky. So make sure you have plenty of glue on there. If you are using liquid glue, it can seep into the little crevices and fill that gap a bit. So sometimes liquid glue is a little better on the embossed things. Also, I'm afraid when I'm using my tape runner, my snail, when I'm going over the emboss, I'm always afraid I'm going to damage the pattern on the embossing. Probably doesn't happen, but if you're a little too heavy-handed, I'm always worried that might happen. Okay, so there we go. I just, it doesn't look much different from the original. It just gives a tiny border, and I think just a little more stability. It feels a little firmer. Okay, so here we go, scraps. I have some that were strips already. I have my trimmer nearby so that I can cut some down if needed. I have some that are teeny tiny. I have some that are, oops, that goes on the inside. That's interesting. That was already glued onto something. Okay, not a problem. And then I took some coordinating colors. I chose, as I said, I have the Misty Moonlight for the base, which is this blue wood grain here. Over here is some Pool Party. So I took some of that out. Some Pecan Pie, which is in the wood, and some gray granite. So my background to my strips is going to be gray granite. I like that look with the blue. And then with these wood grains and those other colors on there, I thought it would look really nice. So we're just going to, you just kind of wing this. You don't have to have any special measurements or anything. So I have my piece of white here that is 4 1/4 by 3. Okay, this layer, by the way, is your typical first layer on a card, which is 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, because it just leaves that 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So you go 1/4 inch less so that you get 1/8 on all sides. All right, so we're going to leave that over there for now. And then we're going to just take our white piece. Now, I suggested you can use liquid glue or adhesive sheets. So you all know how to use liquid glue. The thing is, you want to make sure you get the glue on all sides of the strips. You don't want any of them peeling up. You want them all nice and flat. So one other way of doing that is to use adhesive sheets. Stampin' Up! Sells adhesive sheets in a package that comes like this. They're 6 inches wide by 12. There are 12 of them in the pack, and you get a lot out of this one pack, because very often when you're using your adhesive sheets, you're just doing little pieces anyway. So this is probably one of the biggest things I would use an adhesive sheet on. They are scored. The backing is scored, so it makes it easy to peel up. And then this part inside is sticky. So I'm going to, first you would stick this down onto your paper. And one thing I like to do is, before peeling it all off, I like to just peel some of it down. I'm going to start this other side too while I can grab it. Okay, so I like to fold it down so that I could line up the part that is not sticky. I can line that up with my cardstock first. So there's room for me to adjust that. And I already cut it the same exact size as the white, which is 4 1/4 by 3. And now that I can see it's nice and adjusted here. I know it's white on white with my white background. Here we go. All right, we can see that it's all lined up. Then I could press down the other side that has the backing peeled already. And then when I peel off, I could just open this up and peel those pieces off. Then when I lay it down, the rest of it's going to be perfect. And my fingers are not messy. If you peel the whole thing off first, you're touching the adhesive part and it's sticking to your fingers, and then you're trying to lay it down. And if you have it in the wrong spot, it's not forgiving. You really have to, you can't really pull it up again without making a mess. So that's my trick. It works every time. Just peel a little piece off, line up the rest, and then stick that little piece and just pull it. So there you go. That's the special hint of the day. Okay. All right. Oh, what did Nadine say? Good morning. Good morning. You said thanks, Nadine. Oh, okay. I'm just kind of looking here. A lot of people are up there. I can't always see all the comments as they come in, but I do go back and look. Just a little note, I say this every time. If you're on Facebook, I can see your comments while I still have the live stream going. But once I stop that, I can't go back and see the comments that you typed in live. There is a place on YouTube, on YouTube, that you can write comments and I can see those later. So if I didn't respond to you on YouTube and you really have a question, please write that comment in there. Facebook, the replay stays up there, as do all the comments that you make during the live presentation. So if I miss while we're live, then I will go back and respond to those later. Okay. All right. Oh, hi, Brenda. A lot of okay. What do you like better, runner or a glue for embossing? I'm a liquid glue person. A lot of people call it green glue. That bothers me a little bit. It's not green. The container's green, but the glue is not green. But anyway, I do like using liquid glue. But it's all up to you. I do use the Seal Plus when I want something really, really sticky, and that could be helpful, for the embossing as well. Okay, so back to work here. So here's my backing. I'm going to peel that part off, and then we're going to start laying our strips down. I did emboss a couple with, I embossed a gray granite and a pecan pie with, oh goodness gracious, I forgot what it was. Okay, the one that looks like stucco and thick paint. Ay. All right, I'm having a moment here. And then I have other colors here that I can just pull out, all different size strips, and we can cut some down as needed and go from there. Let's get some gray granites. And don't worry about the length. You can cut them down after you adhere them to your paper. But you do need one. Your longest one is going to be what goes diagonally across here. And you can put them on at any angle that you want. I wouldn't put them, you could put them even straight if you want. I wouldn't put them at a, I would put a more drastic angle is what I'm saying, because I don't want it to be a slight angle and somebody just thinks I did it crooked. So if you're going to do an angle, make sure people know that was on purpose. Okay, so your longest one, you do want to make sure you go past the corners. All right, after we lay these all down, we're just going to trim off the edges. So let me peel off this backing to the adhesive sheet. And inside there, it is very sticky. In fact, right here, I can see there's a spot that I think is where I put my finger and it pulls some of the glue off. So I'm going to want to make sure that's glued down. So as I pull that off, I might just take my Seal Plus and just give that a little extra sticky right there. I better use my silicone sheet. Probably a good idea anyway. And I'm just going to put a little extra piece there. All right. So yeah, because the stickiness that's on these sheets is almost like a sheet also. So if you hit it, it'll kind of peel off a little bit. So that's why I like to put it down the way I showed you, just to peel a little piece first so that you don't have to touch any of the others. All right, so I'm going to take this longest piece first. Again, it could be whichever one you want. I did emboss it up to here, so I'm going to make sure I have the embossing part. Painted texture, that's what it's called. That's the embossing folder. Painted texture. All right, popping into this side, jumping off early for a class. Okay, all right, well, hope you come back and watch the replay. Okay, and just for now, I'm just going to cut that off. Later on, we're going to turn it over and trim the edges. So there we go. We've started. Now let's put another piece on here. Maybe we can do. I'm seeing this would fit over there, so I'm just going to trim that down. I'm not even going to measure. Just going to cut a strip. And we're going to butt that right up against the other one. Again, this adhesive sheet is not forgiving. So once it's down, you're not going to pull it up. I like to, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I like to hold it up and make sure I have it against the edge there first before I drop it down. Okay, so there we go. And now let's take a piece of thin blue here. Thank you. This pool party I'm going to put over here. And I can even just tear this because it's not going to be seen. I'm holding it kind of vertically, button it up against, and then I'll lay it down. Let's get some brown in here. This might be a little too wide because I want to get some extra strips in there. So I'm just going to cut this down. This one, the grain was going in this direction, so I'm choosing one where the grain is going in the other direction. And we'll make this one just a little thinner, perhaps. Oops. A little harder when you're working with thinner pieces. Here we go. All right, looking kind of neat. Let's get a different color. Maybe some of the whitewash over here. Again, that's a little wide, so I'm just going to cut that down a little bit. One thing I like to do when I cut my scraps, I like to purposely, if I'm using scissors, I'll cut them purposely on an angle or tear them so it's definitely noticeable that it's not a clean cut that I did with my trimmer, or I'll make sure I use my trimmer, because sometimes if you just cut with your scissors, then maybe later on you'll think you actually cut it nice and square with your trimmer, and maybe you didn't, and then it looks crooked on your project. So I either make it very clear it's not a straight cut, or I use my trimmer, right from the start. So I'm going to trim this down just a little bit, and I'll put that on. So the adhesive sheets work really, really well. If you want, you can just spread glue over the whole thing, or maybe under a good area that you're working on. I wouldn't do the whole thing because it does dry out before you get to the edge, but that might be another way to make sure all the edges and sides are glued down. All right, let's get another piece here. Something that looks a little different. Oh, okay. Well, we have this here. This is a different color. Woo. So I'm going to, actually, maybe I'll bring some more of that pool party in with this here. Or should I use this one? This one has the brown also. All right, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to choose this part here that has more color to it. I'm going to make this one a really thin one. And put that right up against. Like that. And just for now, I'm just going to trim away some that's like really hanging off. Let's get some brown cardstock in there. You want to make sure at the very end that you are covering the corner. You don't want to leave any corner exposed. And also, if your last piece is just that little bit of a corner, that might be, I wouldn't trust a very, very thin piece for that. So I'm going to use one of my bigger pieces. I'll use this brown at the end. I'm going to cut a smaller one for the next piece in there. So let's see, we don't have any plain blue, so let's bring some of that in. Some of the plain Misty Moonlight. I'll put a little piece. This is kind of fun. Just no stress. I'm going to do that one on the thinner side as well. And I might want to go even thinner. Too hard for me to cut this in half, so I'm just going to cut another piece over here. Now this one's teeny tiny. Actually, I wasn't planning this, but that's kind of how it was done on this one. Tiny up there. So that the last piece can hold on better. That makes sense? You want your last piece to be too skinny that it has trouble holding on. All right, I'm just going to take my last one, some brown, put it there. I'll just do a rough cut those off. Now let's finish the other side. Let's see, I don't think I want to bring the pink in. I just want to keep this one, the blues and the grays and the browns. I think we could use, well, maybe some of this dark gray this time. I'll make this one a little thicker. And then, right, maybe we can end with some of this, because we don't have any of that one. So just don't think too hard on it, guys. Is that going to be enough to cover to the corner? No. So let's bring maybe a thin piece of the brown again. Yep, we could do that. All right. Oh, let's do some of the brown texture. Here we go. I don't need a long piece for that. So I will cut that a thin strip. Okay. Actually, there's a piece there that doesn't have texture on it, so I'm just going to recut another piece here. There we go. And then this will cover. All good. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over, and I have dedicated scissors that I like to use for my sticky things. So I'm just going to cut the excess off, looking at it from behind. And this is where, if you're not using the adhesive sheets, the ends, if you're putting adhesive on your strips, then they might be a little sticky. So just be aware of that. And it really is best to have long bladed scissors. I have some across the room, but I'm not going to have to get those right now, because then you could do like one big swipe with your scissors rather than going chop, 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 chop. It does use up your pieces, Shirley, that's for sure. Yep. Okay, sometimes I'll just take all my pieces, all my scraps out. And look at that. Isn't it lovely? It came out so, so nice. I hadn't made one of these prior to this one. I mean, I've done this technique before, but not with this paper. And I thought it would come out lovely, and I do like it. It looks so, so cool. So we're going to put that on our background color here. So remember, the white is 4 1/4 by 3. But you can make it any size you want. So you can make it bigger and even cut it down. Let's say you want to cut this smaller and just have a smaller piece on your card front. You could do that too. Oh, shaking down the glue. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, we'll layer that there. And, oh, you're welcome for the glue strip tip. And then we can put this on here. You can use dimensionals or your favorite adhesive. And center that. And then you want your, I squished some glue out. Okay. Oh, you ever get a hair on you and you don't know where it is? I feel it tickling my arm. Okay. Now we need a sentiment. We can save all these. And look, even these that have the strip on them already, you wouldn't even have to, you could use it like, just like that on there too. So you don't have to have 2 different ones. Let me just throw this to the side, and maybe I'll make more of those another time. I have a virtual Stampin' Up! Conference today. It's called Backstage, and it's for leaders that are Silver Elite and above in the Stampin' Up! World. And so I signed up for that. Last year we were in Las Vegas. We were in person, and that was awesome to connect with a lot of other demonstrators. So this one is a little bit more business oriented, and we get some nice talks and networking with other demonstrators and other Stampin' Up! People from head office, and so a lot of good advice. So this time it is virtual. So I'll be doing that today and tomorrow. So all good stuff. All right, so now we just need our sentiment. So I put my stamp set somewhere. Here we go. Okay, I'm using the Changing Leaves. I'm going to use You're Amazing in Every Single Way. Okay, because I kind of think the wood grain reminds me of people. A different, everyone is different. Everybody's unique. Every piece of wood is unique and different, has their own style, their own texture, their own colors. So there's my analogy for life today. Didn't know you were going to get that extra, did you? Okay, you are amazing in every way. And we have this little banner die cut here that fits that perfectly. So again, my scraps. I have a little bag here with all my little scraps in it. Okay, that will fit. And I think I will use, I pulled out some brown. I pulled out early espresso and navy. I think I'll use Night of Navy for my sentiment. Black, I think, might be okay too. I don't think the brown. And sometimes you don't know until you put it all together. Right? I'm visual. I have to see it. I can maybe have an idea, but I really like seeing things. I'll lay out a card and say, no, I don't like that. Switch it out and then change up several times. Okay. So I've done this for you before where maybe I don't want all that extra space on either side of my sentiment. So I'm going to make it just a little smaller by starting to die cut it closer to one end first, and then I'll move it over to cut the other side off evenly. So that's a way you can always adjust. Let me clean off my stamp before I get something messy. Okay. I feel bad. A friend of mine lost a stamp the other day, a sentiment stamp. It was a photopolymer. I don't know if she found it yet, but sometimes they stick underneath your stamp sets or to something else, and that is frustrating. Okay, I guess I could have used this one as well. That one could have looked nice. Well, maybe I still can. Oh, yeah, that one fits on there. I'm going to use that one instead. All right, here we go. I'm going to have my washi tape to hold it down so it doesn't slip. Some people like to cut the labels first and then stamp. You can go either way. I like to do the stamping first just in case I goof. Plenty of times my stamping doesn't come out just right. Okay, just put a little, you can use your washi, you can use Post-it notes, Post-it tape. There's even Post-it tape, comes in an applicator. You know, like regular tape, little tape out. Okay. Love my mini to keep on my desk for these occasions. All right, so you have your white. You put your die in between the clear plates, the number 2s, and you run it through. And carefully pull your washi off. I always find pulling it at sort of a right angle will help. And then I just keep my tape there to use again another time, because you really don't want it too sticky. Okay, there you go. How easy is that and fun, right? I think it turns out to be a great masculine card too. Yeah. And we're going to put that up with dimensionals. Of course. How many cards do you make without dimensionals? For me, very few. Yeah. Oh, you know what would look nice on here? A couple little embellishments on each side to make it look like nails or studs holding that label on. Something metallic, right? That's one thing that you can sort of think about when you're making masculine cards: wood grain, texture, some metal or leathery looks to it. So let's try to find something that has a little metallic thing. Hold on one second. Okay, here we go. This is something metallic gems. It's cut off because I used it for, I gave somebody half a sheet once. Okay, so let's try this. It comes silver, gold, and this coppery or rose gold. I tend to usually go silver, but maybe, oh, I'm going to go with my instincts. Got to stick to the silver. Okay, I always tend to use my pick end. I do love the putty end because you can just pick that up like that and then stick it on. There. Okay, so you got your metallic on there and you've got a great masculine card with scraps. Didn't cost you anything extra because you already had those. All right, let's do the Christmas one real quick. If you're crafting along, let us know what DSP or colors you're using. That's always interesting. And then you could always put your pictures of your cards in the comments on my Facebook page, because I always, afterwards the live, I will give pictures of my cards, and then I invite you to share in the comments your own projects too. So, all right, here's where I start making a mess. I'll throw stuff on the side and clean it up later. Okay, let's try Christmassy one real fast. Don't have to talk you through it quite so much, so it should go quicker. I'm going to be using the Reindeer Days paper. And I have some of that to use up, and Christmas is coming, and I like to use it up. This is something I found. I had a piece of wild wheat the other day, and I never would have thought to pair some of these papers with wild wheat, but it kind of looks good, doesn't it? Even with some of the greens, because the wild wheat has a little greenish in it. So I really was surprised that could be a nice match. It even looks kind of good with some of the red mixed in there, but then look here. See, I just thought that was kind of fun. So I left a piece of it in there to remind me to try a card with that. All right. This paper has Rainier Apple Green, Garden Green, and Real Red. Okay, mostly those colors. So I'm doing this nice and bright. I used Granny Apple Green for the outside for the card base. Let me burnish that down. I usually don't go so much for the bright colors, but every once in a while when things start to kind of feel like a little dull. I love the fall, but sometimes you get tired of the browns and the all those colors. So all right, let's go bright and brighten it up a little bit. This is the Forever Plaid embossing folder. All right. It's in the mini catalog at page 27, I think it is. Sometimes people miss it. I was on a team meeting last night and people were saying, oh, do we have that? Is that new? Yeah, it's in the mini catalog, but it's like right in the middle. It's they show it on a red piece of cardstock. It's right next to the peppermint candy embellishments that are back ordered again because people love them so much. So anyway, that's the Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder. I'm going to glue that right down. And some of this pattern paper has some plaid on there, so I thought that was a nice coordinating piece to use. Okay. And you're right, Grace. The simple is better sometimes, right? Okay, there's a lot going on there, but the idea is simple, right? Okay, here we go. We're going to leave that over there for a minute. This is the piece for the inside. Whoops, sticky fingers. I'm going to peel our adhesive sheet off and stick it onto there. I'm just going to pull it down. Just fold it down. Line it up with the end I didn't peel yet. And put the sticky part down. It's already lined up. I'm going to sneak inside and pull that off. I'm just going to lay right down. Ta-da! Simple. Put my silicone mat back in. It's good to hold it on the edge if you can. Ooh, I don't know if you saw that. Got stringy, kind of spider webby. All right, I'm going to start this one with the plaid right in the middle. Like that. Let's do a red next to it. I go this way, butt it up against. Let's do, I embossed a green and a red with, oh boy, the rectangles. Okay, they're rectangles in different directions. Okay, I'm terrible. I'm sorry. I didn't remember the name of it, and I tucked it away. I can put it in the description later on. Okay, so that one's kind of on the bigger side too, but it's okay. I rarely have embossed strips that are left over because I usually cut my pieces to the size I need and then emboss them. If you're using a paper trimmer and trying to cut through something that's embossed, it might get more of a torn edge to it. Use it if you have to cut after you emboss. Use a guillotine or a swing arm cutter. It comes down and cuts it a little bit more cleanly if you have to do that. All right, let's bring in some Christmas lights. And some holly on the other ends. I'm going to cut this edge off so I can access that better. We'll do, I think about 1/4 of an inch or so. I want to keep the integrity of the pattern. I love this holly one. My favorite paper there. And you will get some height difference between the cardstock and the DSP, but that's okay. It's not going to be a problem. All right, let's bring another piece of red in there. And I'll cut that one just a little smaller, a little thinner, I mean. See, actually, this is a 1/4 piece of cardstock, and I'm able to butt it right up against these little guards that are up here. Those are about 1/4 inch apart, so I am able to just close it and make a really thin cut. So look how quickly this goes. And then what else do I need? Oh, I need some embossed red. I'm going to try to cut a small piece for down here. And because this embossed pattern has some small pieces to it, it will work. You know, if you have like a big thing, a big pattern to your embossing, and you try to cut a thin strip, you're not going to capture the essence of what that is. All right, let's add some, put some jingle bells in there. Always use some jingle bells, right? I'm going to cut a thin piece and then end up with a bigger piece at the end. Maybe some plain green again might work. So that should do it. I'm going to cut this side so I can catch more of those bells. Okay, and we'll get some green right over there. Ta-da! Now we just have to finish the other end. See, is there something we haven't used? These might be a little big. Like this pattern would be too big. You know, if you want to just bring in something with color, if it doesn't matter. But also on the diagonal, the deer heading the other direction might be a little funky. Might be a little weird. So I am not going to use that one. Maybe I'll bring in more jingle bells. And I'll just finish off with bells. Ta-da! All right, let's cut it and see what we got. This is when like the magic happens because it looks so nice once you trim it all up, right? Okay, you're in Portugal today for 5 days crossing. Okay. All right, Tina, that's you, right? Okay, yep. All right, I know who you are. I was just talking to my husband about you. I said, I wonder if you are on the Atlantic at the moment. I I knew you were traveling. I just didn't know what part of your journey you were on. That is so exciting. So exciting. But nice of you to join on. People all over the world. So I love this. You trim off the edges, and when you flip it over, it's that wow moment. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Look how fun. Fun, fun, fun. All right. Wow, this is bright. That's okay. You know, it looks brighter on my computer screen. I don't know. Something with the lighting or whatever. Anyway, we've got that. And, you know, it might make a difference which direction you turn this. I don't know. I think I'll do this. There's more red on the corner. It's not going to matter. Like I said, most people aren't going to analyze it the way you do. People will say, oh, yeah, Lorraine really should have turned that paper the other way. Okay, we'll glue that onto the front. So one thing I might do when doing this card, this style card, is if I were maybe just sitting in front of the TV or something, it's something mindless you can do. Do the white part with the DSP and some cardstock and do a bunch of those. Just do those pieces, you know, do it assembly line style, mix them up a little bit, and then decide which card base and whatever you want to put that on. So of course you can stamp something on the inside or put some designer paper in there as well. I will bring a little bit of red inside. Let me bring some of the jingle bells in there. Okay, so that is 4 inches. That I definitely want to clear cut. All right. Hi, Joan. We're our worst critics, that's for sure. Too hard on ourselves sometimes. You have to learn how to be proud of your work. And if you are not as happy as you thought you'd be, just think about, okay, what can I do better next time? It's all a learning experience. I was talking to a team member last night. We have had a team meeting, and there's one stamper that's been stamping for just about a year. And she said she had looked at one of the first cards that she had made a year ago and thought, oh my gosh, I had the nerve to show this to people. But she was so proud of it at the time. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters, is that you're having fun and to see your growth, to recognize your growth. And I think having good products too with the Stampin' Up! Products, Stampin' Up! Has really improved a lot of the products. So I took out one of my first catalogs from 2000, and we were looking through that and all the products that we used to have, and now we don't. We didn't have designer paper then. And when we did first get it, I don't know what year that was. I'm bad at memorizing dates and history. But the first year, it was all one-sided. Okay, we didn't have the double-sided paper. So everybody grows. I am going to use Christmas labels. I love these dies here. And I was just thinking, again, because this is really busy, we just kind of want something clear. I'm just going to do Be Merry. And just remember, folks, that often on the cover of your case, it is not always true to size what the stamps are. So down here, it says the images are at 80%. You can see that it is, maybe you can't see. Okay, you can see that it is bigger than what's on the front. This way they can show you all the images in a smaller area than what's inside. And when they're inside, they're pieced in different directions so that they can fit more comfortably in the case. So now this one, I'm going to just use black so I can, it can really show up nice and bold. So let's get that. And then I'm just going to use this square here because I think it's just a little bit more plain to go with the busyness of the rest of the card. And that can fit right on there. I have my leftover washi. And we can run that through. Lickety split. Ta-da. I'm at a bad angle here. There we go. I'll stand up. Okay, what's fun about these dies, not just the shape, but they have little cuts in them, little slits to make them a little more interesting. Okay, so it's not just embossed, so to speak. There's some actual slits in there. So one thing that's kind of cool is if you wanted to run a ribbon through there, perhaps, you could sort of make it into a label or a tag or something. So that's something that you could do there, or a banner, like a little flag down at the bottom. So there are fun things that you can do with that. But I'm just going to put that right on there, keep it simple. Put my die back. I don't like to lose a die because you can't just go ahead and buy your missing die. You have to buy the whole set again. Okay, when I put my dimensionals on, I'm going to make sure I don't cover those slits. Okay, we'll put this one up on top this time, just to be different. You can go any way you like. It could be a vertical card, right? Go any direction you like. So I hope you have fun with that. Hope you do use up your scraps. And let's bring them all back in and compare. Okay, so there was the model card, there was the masculine one, and there's the Christmassy one. So all different styles, anything can work, right? Okay, well, magic. Yes. So you could start while watching TV. Exactly. Yeah. Hi, Joyce. Good morning. Catching last part. Okay. Yeah, sure. Watch the replay, please. But this is what you'll end up with. Again, real simple. Another thing you can do is cut a bunch of tags ahead of time and then just have them ready to go. I have a little bin here that they're not stamped, but as I'm creating, I do have, well, some of them are stamped, right? Might have tried something out and I didn't like it. And I said, oh, put it away for later. But I have some things here that are just kind of ready to go for me to use another time. And I will make sure I use that. Another thing that could work nicely on here is, now this was from the Thoughtful Moments hybrid embossing folder and die cuts, something like that, a sentiment that's kind of cut out like that could work there too. So it doesn't have to be a whole label. Is that focusing okay for you? All right, there you go. Maybe it's just my computer. So a word die could look fun on there as well. Yeah, obviously I wouldn't put thinking of you on that, but you get the idea, right? So yeah, so I like that look as well. All right, so I hope you enjoy that. I hope you have a nice weekend of stamping, and I will read through your comments and check back with you next time. All right, thanks, guys. Bye-bye.